Welcome back to my channel. I'm so glad you're here. Today we're going to go through and shop my bookshelves for all of my fall reads. So I've decided not to make a fall TBR this year because I feel like every time I make a TBR, I feel like I have to read those books. So I'm just making a fall bookshelf, like a little fall spot for all my fall books. So when I think about fall, I think about spooky stuff. I think about haunted houses, going back to school, college professors, all that kind of thing. So let's go through our bookshelves and see what books we have for fall. Okay, I have pulled all my fallish books. So let's talk about why they feel like fall and why I want to read them. First up is Someone Knows by Via Keelan. Professor Davis knows that everyone has a story, and she'll teach you about how to tell yours. As long as you don't ask about her own past, but somebody knows, so grab a pen and some paper. Get ready to take notes because the truth is, the story is far from over. So, I picked this up because, again, when I think of fall, I think of school, going back to school. I think of going back to college and professors. And this main character is a professor. So, that's why I picked this one up. Alright. And next one, again, is Somebody Knows. But this one is by Lisa Scottoline. Olivia Garvey is heading home to a funeral of a childhood friend. She's not only grief-stricken, she's full of dread. Because going home means seeing the other two people with whom she shares an unbearable secret. 20 years earlier, A horrific accident shattered the lives of 5 teenagers, including Allie. They played a dangerous prank that went tragically wrong. The teenagers never told anyone, believing they'd get caught would be the worst thing that could happen. But time has taught Allie otherwise. Not getting herself caught was far worse. The dark secret has eaten away at her, distancing from everyone she loves, including her husband, because she wasn't punished by the law. Allie has punished herself, is in his life sentence. Now Allie stands on the price of losing everything. She's ready for a reckoning, determining to learn how the prank ended so horribly. She digs to unearth the truth, but reaches a shocking conclusion that she never saw coming, and neither will the reader. Again, kind of like a little mystery that goes back to when they were teenagers, and I feel like the cover just screams fall with the dark, moody, suburban little looking things. Okay, next up is All Is Not Forgotten by Wendy Walker. Let me say, this cover just screams fall with the leaves in the background and the mystery person right there. So it begins in a small town of Fairview, Connecticut, where everything seems picture perfect, until one night when young Jenny Kramer is attacked at a local party. In the hours immediate thereafter, she is giving a controversial drug to medically erase her memory of a violent assault. But in the weeks and months that follow, as she heals from her physical wounds, with no factual recall of the attack, Jenny wrestles with her raging emotional memory. Her father, Tom, becomes obsessed with his inability to find her attacker and seek justice, while her mother, Charlotte, struggles to pretend that this horrific event has not touched her, carefully connected the world. As Tom and Charlotte help seek for their daughter, their fault lines within their marriage and their close-knit community emerge from the shadows. They have been hidden for years, and the relentless quest to find the monster who invaded the town, or perhaps lives among them, drives them into a psychological thriller to a shocking and unexpected conclusion. This just sounds really, really good to me. Alright, we have The Bitter Season by Tammy Hogg. This was a old library book, but a detective assigned to a cold case, emergency hunting killers, and she misses old something because the due date's on the back, so it's cut off. But hard time adjusting to Liska's absent, but is distracted from his troubles by the brutal domicide of his university professor and his wife. Liska's case as an unsolved murder of sex crimes detective is less likely a distraction. Meanwhile, Evie Burgett has a life she only dreamed as of a kid in and out of foster homes, but danger from her past is stalking her present as the trails of 2 crimes a quarter-century apart cross. Kovac and Liska race to find the answers. So, I did pick this one for fall just because it kind of looks like snow and leaves at the same time, so I kind of think it's going to be like a November read for me. Let me see if I can see when November. Yeah, it takes place in November. So this is going to be a later fall book that I'm going to read. Alright, then we have The Madness by Dawn Kurtajak. Don't know if I'm reading that right, but I also picked this because of the inside cover screams fall with the leaves and the moths. So, it says, beware what waits in the shadows. With one unexpected email from her estranged best friend Lucy, Mina Murray's carefully curated life is turned upside down. Suspending her psychologic practice in London, she returns home to the windswept shores of Wales. Faced with everyone she left behind, soon she discovers that Lucy's symptoms mirror those of her mysterious amosenic patient 100 miles away. With nothing but an untraceable sickness connecting the 2 women, with Lucy's life on the line, Mina finds herself asking questions and being drawn ever deeper into a web of secrets, missing girls, and the powerful, nameless force for its center, one that has been haunting her for years. A terrible accident truths begin to reveal themselves. Mina prepares to confront her own darkest secrets with them, an evil beyond comprehension. Together with a group of smart, savvy women, Mina seizes one last desperate chance to stop the cycle that began so long ago. But there are dangers to inviting attentions of what might not be a man, but a monster. So again, kind of like that spooky, what's going to happen, why they're getting haunted. Alright, the next one is Cackle by Rachel Harrison. Now, I have read this book. I want to reread it because I loved it so much. It is on my 5-star reads, like books I would recommend. So I am going to try to reread this month. But I will read, this is like an October read. All of her life, Annie has played nice and safe. After being unceremoniously dumped by her longtime boyfriend, Annie seeks a fresh start. She accepts a new teaching position and moves from Manhattan to a small village upstate. She's stunned by how perfect, picturesque this town is. The people are all friendly and warm. Her new apartment is dreamy, to aside from the oddly persistent spider infestation. Then Annie meets Sophia, a beautiful, charming, magnetic Sophia, who takes a special interest in Annie and wants to be her friend. More importantly, she wants Annie to stop apologizing and start living for herself. That's how she lives. Annie can't help but gravitate towards the self-possessed Sophie and starts to spend more time with her, despite the fact that the rest of the town folks seem a little afraid of her. And like, okay, there are some things Sophie appearance is uncanny in ages. Her mansion is in the middle of the woods, feels a little unearthly, and she does seem to have a wield of certain power. But she could she be? That's all I'm going to read. If you need a Halloween or a spooky, non-scary book, this is the book for you. Alright. No One Will Miss Her by Kate Rosenfield. My name is Lizzie Odell, and if you're reading this, I'm already dead. The funny thing is, some people will say I had it coming. Maybe not in many words, maybe not quite so out in the open, but give it time, just wait. They say what they like, they know the truth, and for once, I have no reason not to tell it anymore. Definitely screams fall with the leaf and the books. And it does say, here's the actual. On a beautiful October morning in rural Maine, a homicide investigator from the state police pulls into the hard-luck town of Cooper Falls. The junkyard is burning, and the local peril, Lizzie Odell, is dead. With her husband, Joanne, nowhere to be found. As scandal rips through the community, Detective Ian Bird's inquiry unexpectedly leads him away from backwoods Maine to a swink city townhouse several hours south. Adrienne Richards, blonde and fabulous social media influencer, and a wife, a disc-grade billionaire, has been renting Lizzie's tiny lake house as a country getaway. Even though Cooper Falls is anything but a resort town, as Adrienne's connection to the case becomes clear, so too does her connection to Lizzie, who narrates their story from beyond the grave. Each woman is desperately lonely in her own way, and they navigate a relationship that cuts across the class boundaries, transactional, complicated, and finally deadly. A going guard for gig economy, the story is privilege, identity, and cunning as two devious women from opposite worlds discover the dangers of cultivating someone else's life. And I guess technically that is a leaf burning. So, alright, and the last book that I grabbed is That Night. As a teenager, Toni Murphy had a life full of typical adolescence complications. A boyfriend she adored, a younger sister she couldn't relate to, a strained relationship with her parents, and classmates who seemed hell-bent on having her life miserable. Things weren't easy, but Toni could never have predicted how horrific they would become until her younger sister was brutally murdered one summer night. Toni and her boyfriend Ryan were convicted of murder and sent to prison. Now, 34, Toni is out of the parole and back in her hometown, struggling to adjust to new life on the outside. Prison changed her, hardened her, and she doing everything in her power to avoid violating her parole and going back. This means having absolutely no contact with Ryan, avoiding fellow parolees, looking to pick fights, and steering clear of trouble in all its forms. But nothing is making that easy. Not Ryan, who is convinced he can figure out the truth. Not her mother, who doubts Toni's innocent, and certainly not the group of women who made Toni's life hell in high school, may have darker secrets than anyone realizes. No matter how hard she tries, ignoring her old life is the start of new one is impossible. Before Toni can truly move on, she must risk everything to find out what really happened that night. But the truth might be the most terrifying at all. So those are all the books that I picked off my bookshelf. Now there are two other books that are on my radar for fall. They are The Academy by Ellen Hildebrandt and her daughter Shelley Cunningham. This one looks amazing. And I do have it on hold at the library. It's just not in because it is a new book. So let me read. The story follows a year at prestigious New England boarding school, Tiffany Academy, where a new app called Zip Zap exposes scandalous blind items in students and staff, leading to drama and secrets. Again, I like those back to school books. And the next one I wanted was, let me see, I have a picture of it. No Rest for the Wicked. This looks like a Halloween book for me. Again, this is going to be a library pickup because it is $20 unless I get it on my Kobo. In one Halloween obsessed Mr. town, everyone's on a red alert after a local politician goes missing. Little do they know, it's only the beginning. It's been close to 20 years since forensic pathologist Dolores Hathaway left her hometown of Little Horton, Wisconsin. There's another one I can't say. This town is famous for its Halloween celebrations, but also its history of violent deaths linked to the holiday. To Dolores, it's the place she fled, family, bad memories, and awe, until the FBI calls to tell her that her father, the former mayor, turned U.S. Senator, is missing under mysterious circumstances. Some people count to 10 to wake up from the nightmare. Dolores always counts the bones of her hand instead. Then she has the bones names, so I'm not going to try to say those. But no matter how many times she counts them, it doesn't change the fact that her father is missing, that his final words of warning to her were to trust no one, and that now the rest of her family is giving Dolores a chilling welcome. With Halloween fast approaching, Dolores must face the past she left behind before it's too late. So again, those are all the books I read, would like to read for fall, or all the books that give me fall vibes. Comment below some of your books that you're wanting to read this fall. And thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.